Yeah.
It's a nice title already.
All right. Hello, everybody. Sorry for the spoilers, but we'll get to that. Thank you for being here today. My name is Rohan, and I'm thrilled to welcome you to the launch of Machine Yearning. This initiative has been a journey of research and development, and it's a real pleasure to share it with you all today. For millions of years, evolution and natural selection have sculpted the human body and mind into the remarkable form that we inhabit today. But what if that process could be designed? With Machine Yearning, I propose to do just that. I aim to accelerate and create our physical manifestations, not by abandoning our human essence, but by augmenting it through the power of science, technology, and design. The first element I want to share with you guys is the one that's on my head. This is the OpenBCI Ultra Cortex. Through my work at OpenBCI, I've had the opportunity to develop and build open source accessible brain-computer interface. And this device is a prime example of that. It allows us to listen to the electromagnetic signals of the brain as it reads and decodes brainwave activity in real time. This direct neural connection is a cornerstone of machine yearning, representing a powerful way that technology can help our species explore new frontiers of capability. The second element I'm excited to introduce are the Machine Yearning signature limbs, as you can see here. The tentacle limb is designed to create a unique biomimetic attachment to the human body, moving beyond conventional degrees of freedom. And the articulated arm introduces unique affordances, such as extended reach and bioluminescence. What's critical here is that these designs are intentionally non-humanoid. Machine Yearning isn't about replicating the human form, but about augmenting the human experience with entirely new ways to interact and to express. This is where design comes in. Now, I'd like to give a little glimpse into how this all comes together. This is the OpenBCI graphical user interface. What you see over here are the brain waves of 16 different sections of my brain called channels. So each one measures different parts of my brain, which are slightly different because different parts of the brain are responsible for different functions. But the important part for us here is this, the focus widget. What this does is it aggregates all of these 16 channels into being able to tell whether I'm concentrating or relaxing. When I concentrate, the ultra cortex detects specific high-frequency patterns in my brain activity and decodes these patterns as intentions, sending signals to these limbs, which then activate to perform whatever I want. It's a direct link, and today it seems like there's quite a bit of noise, which is why they're a little bit erratic, but the control is pretty fluid. So now, moving on from that direct link from mind to motion, I want to talk about this project as a whole. The responsibility and opportunity of designing the future of human augmentation should not rest with a single individual. True evolution, after all, is a process of widespread trial and error, collective discovery, and natural selection. That's why I'm particularly proud to share just one more thing with you all. Machine Yearning Studio. Let me take you there. Machine Yearning Studio, affectionately known as My Studio, is a free open source online platform, a digital marketplace. It's a space where anyone, anywhere in the world, can contribute their ingenuity to build, to share, and to iterate upon their own ideas and visions for machine yearning. Whether it's designing an augmentation for a specific practical task, or for new avenues of creative expression, or simply for the joy of exploration, My Studio allows the most compelling and effective ideas to organically gain recognition and inspire further development. The vision is a future where access to this transformative technology and design philosophy is widely shared and accessible. Steve Jobs famously said that creativity is just connecting things. By connecting the insights of neuroscience, the capabilities of advanced robotics, the principles of thoughtful design, and the power of a global community, Machine Yearning aims to place humanity on the precipice of a new kind of evolution, an evolution shaped by intention and shared creativity. Thank you. It definitely does, and that's one of those things that I kind of anticipated being able to explore, and it was really exciting to be able to explore that because it really does change the way you perceive yourself, the way you perceive the built environment around you. Even just now, going down the elevator to get down here was a whole new experience. It felt like both being a newborn baby and playing a brand new instrument. But it's really interesting sensorially, physically, definitely a unique experience.
I have a question actually. Can you explain, so what does this platform actually?
Yeah, it's a speculative platform that if I had to minimize it to one specific thing, it would be the software that actually decodes the brain signals and turns it into data that's accessible to a hobby level. And then there are a lot of ways to do that. And what I'm using is called the focus relaxation. There are other kind of neurotech methods like motor imagery and stuff with varying degrees of accuracy. But they all kind of have the same goal of trying to get as much control and as many features as possible to be able to control different things.
So there's a way to kind of watch this, get feedback from what you're doing and that, and people have access to that.
Yeah, I chose to explore limbs intentionally because it felt like a very good and kind of fascinating entry point into this kind of domain. But I can go back to Machine Yearning Studio here. And so many of these are not limbs. I actually ran a workshop where I asked my classmates to come up with their wildest ideas about what they would do if they had this technology and it was readily available and it worked perfectly, what they would make. And the results were incredible. For dogs, a lightsaber, all these sorts of things that I think really expand exponentially beyond just limbs. Thank you.
Just compliments. Really nice. It reminded me the work of Stella, with the extra leaves and the ear and so it's really nice. If I can give you one comment before, just watch this out. I think if you use the feedback of what you learned into this platform, I think it's great. Then you have the whole loop,
Yeah.
You've done such a wonderful job of creating this shining example of a really complex system that you put so much work into developing and have also found a way to share it collaborative space that's really exciting and freeing, and doesn't have to be grounded in tangibility necessarily, but you've proven that it can be tangible, and I think that honing in on that opportunity and exploiting in a positive sense, exploiting it to the fullest capability in such a short time frame is incredibly commendable. Like, just
Thank you.
fantastic and so whimsical and freaky and wonderful. Really great.
Thank you. Yeah, this technology has existed for quite a while, but it's been limited to like academic research spaces. So I thought this was a great opportunity to bring it into like the design world and kind of open it up and make it an object of desire.
Great project. I love the way you explained everything and this workshop space because people think in different ways and they want different things out of technology. I understand that explaining all of this in 10 minutes was like a lot. It must have been hard. I want to understand why you chose to explore limbs and would you going forward, would you keep exploring limbs or would you want to switch and why?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think, again, I think limbs are very fascinating because for several reasons, but one, we kind of have this notion of like prosthetics, and that's kind of one of the places where this project started was prosthetics. And then I thought that there's really no reason for prosthetics to be humanoid. They can be things like this, and I thought if those exist, why can't able-bodied people have them as well, right? So I think limbs are just a really good starting point because they're so accessible, because it's so visually striking. But I think I would love to explore beyond that as well, which was also one of the motivations to create Machine Yearning Studio.
And then I have one suggestion just going forward. It would have been very nice to see if you could done some examples of how this amazing technology that's still in the speculative phase. It's totally okay that you're still exploring and you don't know too much and long will change the feedback of how you would imagine this being in the real world, in real world environments, solving something maybe.
Yeah.
Just as a next step, that helps people connect something that's so new and speculative to something that's a real process.
Yeah.
So connecting that line would be good.
Yeah, thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, actually, a lot of it was similar to what she was saying, but yeah, I guess I'm curious on the spectrum of like useful to speculative. Like, what is your dream for like either ends of that spectrum? Like,
Yeah.
What is the use case? I guess if you thought about it.
Yeah. So when I first developed these, like the tentacle and this jointed, and like early prototypes and stuff, people would ask me like, what can I actually do with these? And my default answer has always been, you'll find out in 10 years. So, I mean, you can't, I can't say that these are useful, I'm gonna be wearing them 24/7. But I think as the neurotechnology gets more advanced for a non-invasive level at least, and you can get more control of these, I think the capabilities can only increase. And as more people start developing, then I think, again, it can only increase.
Yeah, I think when you're sharing a project like that, maybe online, it might be really interesting to invite the user to think about these questions as to like what it'll look like in 10 years, right?
Yeah.
So they can also kind of go with you on that journey of like a speculative product and kind of asking like questions that kind of get them excited or intrigued about the technology. Yeah, I guess another question I have was like, are there any constraints or concerns you have with this technology?
I think so. One being that obviously this is non-invasive. There's been a lot of people working on invasive neurotechnology as well. For better or for worse, there are very unique challenges with that. But the data you can get from that is much, much better. So I think both kind of need to happen at the same time, in my opinion, and one kind of pushes another. But it very much is an ethical discussion as well.
Oh.
Yeah, and just building off what other people said, a very intriguing project. I really like hearing about the different components. But I agree that a little bit of what was missing for me up front that maybe could work on is sort of the why. Like, why do we need bioluminescence in an R? Like, you know, I kind of caught right up to you, and then you came back and showed this at the end, which I think is one of the most compelling pieces of your project. But I still would love to know a little bit more about how this works. Like, it kind of looks like this social media platform for people to connect, or maybe it's not that, and I'm overly assuming. But yeah, I'd love to know more about it. I'd love to know about how this works. And would also agree that I would love to see like photos of you out and videos out in the world if you started to interact, or have to like start to like get our heads around what would this actually be if we started seeing this pop up. But again, it's more speculative.
Yeah. Thank you.